All right, let's talk about something that gives a lot of business owners a headache: PF and ESIC compliance. It can feel like this impossible puzzle, right? Well, today, we're going to crack that code. Let's turn all that confusion into some real clarity.
So, have you ever felt like you're just completely lost in a maze of compliance portals, confusing forms, and deadlines that seem to pop up out of nowhere? Yeah, you're not alone. It's totally overwhelming. But stick with me here and we're going to draw a map right through it.
Okay, so here's our game plan. We're going to cover the why and how of compliance, then we'll decode PF, and after that, we'll do the same for ESIC. We'll also figure out this whole one form or many mess, tackle those annoying portal problems, and I'll even give you a handy cheat sheet at the end. Ready? Let's dive in.
All right, Section 1, Compliance, the why and the how. First things first, right? We need to figure out, does this stuff even apply to your business? And maybe more importantly, what's the big deal if you just don't do it? Let's get the basics right.
So who needs to comply? It all comes down to your team size, really. For Provident Fund, or PF, the magic number is 20. Once you hit 20 employees, you're in. For state insurance, or ESIC, that number's even lower. It's just 10 employees in most states. So that's your very first checkpoint. Super important. And why should you care? Well, because the cost of getting this wrong is steep. I mean, really steep. Just being late on a payment for either of these means you're hit with a 12% per year interest charge. But the real kicker? The penalties. For EPF, you could be looking at a penalty of up to 100% of what you owe. Think about that. That's a huge, huge hit. Okay, let's move on. Section 2, Decoding the Provident Fund. We're going to break this whole thing down, step by step. I'll take you through everything from getting registered to doing your monthly filings.
The best way to think about PF is as a monthly rhythm. There's a one-time thing you do first, which is registering your business. After that, every month it's pretty much the same flow. You bring on new employees and get them their UAN, that's their universal account number. Then you calculate what everyone owes, upload this one file called an ECR, pay up, and make sure you mark anyone who's left the company. See, when you break it down like that, it's actually not so bad.
So let's look at the money part. How does this contribution actually break down? The employee's part is simple. They put in 12%. But the employer's part is where it gets interesting. You, as the employer, also put in 12%, but it's not all going to the same place. A small piece of it, 3.67%, goes into the employee's main PF account. But the bigger chunk, 8.33%, actually goes into their pension scheme, the EPS. Kind of neat how they split that.
Okay, if you remember nothing else, remember this number, the 15th. Every single month, the 15th is your D-Day. It's the absolute last day to pay the PF contributions for the previous month. Miss this and bam, that's when all those nasty interest charges and penalties we talked about come knocking.
All right, time to switch gears. Let's jump into Section 3 and decode state insurance, or ESIC. This one is all about health and security for your team.
So, what exactly is ESIC? Well, think of it like a safety net. It gives employees access to medical care, cash benefits if they're sick, and other good stuff. But here's the key thing to know. It's not for everyone. It only applies to employees earning a gross salary of up to 21,000 rupees a month. If they make more than that, this scheme doesn't cover them.
Now, the contribution rates for ESIC are way lower. The employee only chips in 0.75%, and the employer puts in 3.25%. And here's a really important difference from PF. These percentages are calculated on the employee's gross wages, the whole amount, not just their basic pay. That's a detail you've got to get right. When it comes to deadlines, ESIC has that same monthly rhythm, right? That all-important 15th of the month for payments. But there's an extra layer here. You also have to file 2 half-yearly returns. I like to think of it as your compliance spring cleaning, one on May 11th for the previous winter and another one on November 11th for the summer months.
Okay, moving on to Section 4. Now this is a big one. It's something that trips up so many people. Do you file one giant form for the whole company, or do you have to do a separate one for every single employee? It's confusing, I know. Let's get this sorted out, once and for all.
So does this sound familiar? You have to upload just one ECR file for everyone each month. But then, for every new person who joins, you have to deal with a separate Form 11. It feels like the rules contradict each other, right? But trust me, there's a simple logic behind it.
And here's the breakdown. It's actually super logical. Anything that's about one specific person's details, like their joining form or who they nominate as their beneficiary or a withdrawal form, that's all done employee by employee. It has to be, right? But the big monthly stuff, like that ECR file and the payment, that's employer-wise. It's one big summary file from you for everyone. Simple as. All right, Section 5. This is where the rubber meets the road. Let's talk about the government portals. We all know they can be, let's just say, a bit of a challenge. So let's go over the most common headaches and, more importantly, how to fix them without losing your mind.
This quote just nails it, doesn't it? Trying to use these portals, especially near a deadline, really can feel like trying to navigate a crazy busy train station during rush hour. It's chaos. But just like a train station, if you know the layout and the schedule, you can get through it just fine.
Okay, let's talk about a common problem that gives everyone a mini heart attack. You've made the payment, the money is gone from your bank account, but you look at the portal and it's still screaming unpaid at you. Oh, the panic is real. So what do you do?
First things first, and this is the golden rule, do not pay again. Seriously. 99% of the time, this is just a lag, a sync issue between the bank system and the government's portal. Just wait. Give it 24, maybe 48 hours. You can check the status with your TRRN, that's the temporary return reference number you got, and only after like 3 days should you even think about raising a support ticket. Your best friend in this situation is patience.
Here's another one that's a total showstopper. You're trying to do the KYC verification, linking their Aadhaar card, and it keeps failing. Why? Name mismatch. And that one little error can bring everything to a grinding halt for that employee.
So how do you fix this? You have to be proactive. The name in your system has to match their Aadhaar card perfectly. I mean, exactly. Every space, every initial, every last letter. And here's the pro tip. Do this on day one. The moment a new employee joins, get their KYC verification done. Don't wait until the end of the month when you're under pressure. It'll save you a world of pain. Whew, okay. We have covered a ton of ground. So for our last section, let's pull all of this together into one simple cheat sheet that you can actually use to stay on top of things.
And there you have it, your entire compliance calendar on one slide. The big one, of course, is the 15th of every single month. That's your deadline for both PF and ESIC payments, non-negotiable. Then, throughout the month, you're just keeping up with new people joining and others leaving. And finally, you've got your 2 ESIC return dates to circle on the calendar, May 11th and November 11th. Seriously, just put these 4 things in your calendar with reminders, and you're pretty much golden.
I want to leave you with this one last thought, because I think it really changes how you look at all of this. Most PF and ESIC problems, they're not really legal problems. They're timing problems, they're data problems, and they're discipline problems. It's not about being a legal genius. It's about having a good system, getting the data right from the start, hitting your deadlines, and just being consistent. So the real question to ask yourself isn't, am I a lawyer? It's, are my processes solid? Think about that. Thanks for tuning in.